Hi there, it's Mrs. Ferris from Wood Library, and I'm ready for Monday to be a fun day. We're going to have a story and a craft. But first I have a question for you. How many of you know the story about the tortoise and the hare? Now, in case you've forgotten, tortoise is another word for turtle, and hare is another word for, you guessed it, rabbit. And it's said that long ago, the two of them had a race to see who was the fastest. Now, everyone just assumed that Hare would be the fastest because, well, he had great long legs and could hop great distances. And Tortoise, oh my goodness, he moves so slowly. But if you're familiar with the story, you know there was a surprise in it. Well, we have lots of different versions of that story here at the library, so if you're not familiar with it, you can come and check one of them out. And we're going to have a variation on it today. This is called When Turtle Grew Feathers. It's written by Tim Tickle with illustrations by Stacy Schuett, and it's published by August House. And it says, for its subtitle, A Folktale from the Choctaw Nation. So let's get started. Most everybody knows about the race between turtle and rabbit, but the Choctaw people tell the story differently. They say that the reason Rabbit couldn't outrun Turtle was that he wasn't racing a turtle at all. He just thought he was. It all took place on the day when Turtle grew feathers. Now, Turkey was walking in the grass by the lake, and he was stretching his long, skinny neck, not watching where his feet fell. Turkey didn't see Turtle napping in the grass. Crack, crack. "Oh, you stepped on my back," said Turtle. "My shell is shattered like glass." "I'm not to blame," said Turkey. "You sleep too low in the grass." "My shell is my home," said Turtle. "You broke my beautiful shell." "That's your fault, not mine," said Turkey. "I'm tired of hearing you yell." And with that, Turkey lifted his wings to fly away. "Oh, wait," cried Broken Shell Turtle. "Let's call a truce and not fight." Turkey smiled and nodded. Let's do what we know to be right." Well, just then an army of ants paraded by. "Oh, friends," called Turkey, "help us mend this shell, and then I'll help you gather your dinner till your little bellies swell." So the ants went to work, and with threads of silk from the cornfield, they sewed Turtle's shell together. Turtle climbed into his shell, and oh, it was as good as new. "I'm sorry for your trouble," said Turkey, "but I like your shiny shell." "Want to try it on?" asked Turtle. "I think you would look just swell." "I believe I would," said Turkey. So Turtle shimmied out of his shell, and Turkey climbed in. He stuck his long neck out the front. He pushed his wings through the sides. He poked his long, skinny legs out the back of Turtle's shell. And about that time, 5 little bitty turtles came huffing and puffing and running down the path. "Everybody hide!" the little bitty turtles cried. "What is it?" asked Turtle, eyes open wide. "Here comes Rabbit," said the little bitty 5. "Rabbit wants to race and he won't be denied." Well, Turkey pulled his wings and legs into Turtle's shell, and he drew his head inside and he peeked out the front. In the flick of an eye, Rabbit burst into the clearing. "I feel real fast. I'm ready to race. Who wants a little mud in his face?" He spotted Turtle's shell lying on the ground. "How about you, Turtle? How about a little race?" Turkey lay hidden in Turtle's shell and didn't say a word. Rabbit moved closer. "I said, how about you, Turtle? How about a little race?" And finally, from where he hid in the grass, Turtle yelled, "Get it on!" Well, Rabbit jumped back. He had never been talked to like this. Well, he scratched a line in the dirt, puffed his chest, and said, "You've made me mad, my slowpoke friend. Your racing days are about to end." Well, Turkey waddled to the starting line, and he seemed to take forever. Finally, Rabbit said, "Once around the lake when I say go. Careful not to run too slow." Turkey poked his head out and looked around. Rabbit had never seen a turtle with a neck like that before. And while he watched, that neck kept growing and growing and growing. And Rabbit was beginning to get a little worried. "On your mark," said Rabbit. Long, skinny legs grew out of Turtle's shell. Rabbit couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Get set!" But the strangest thing was yet to come. All of a sudden, wings popped out of Turtle's shell. Long, slow flapping wings. Rabbit was downright scared by now. He stuttered. He stammered. He finally shouted, "Go!" Turkey took off in an explosion of dust. His legs were churning and his wings were flapping. Rabbit stayed behind, choking in the dust. And just as he was about to take off, he heard a sound behind him. Screech! Turkey was coming in for a landing. He had already circled the lake. Turkey glanced over at Rabbit and he adjusted his shell till it fit properly. He dusted himself off with his feathers and then he strutted right across the finish line. Rabbit looked on, unable to speak. His eyes were as big as itty-bitty turtle shells. And for the first time ever, Rabbit couldn't think of a thing to say. He hung his ears and went hip-hoppity, hip-hoppity off to where rabbits hide. Rabbit never challenged Turtle again, and that's why you never see them racing today. That's the way the Choctaws tell the story. It all took place, they say, on the day when Turtle grew feathers. It was a day of great learning as well. Turtle learned that you don't have to be the biggest, or the fastest, or the best. But it sure is nice to be friends with those who are. Chada, Hapsha, Hoke. Now that story is yours. So I'm going to get myself ready to make our craft project. And for it, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need 3 craft sticks. Now they can be popsicle sticks, the thinner ones, or they can be the wider craft sticks. You're going to need some yarn, and it can be solid color yarn. A couple of different colors is good, or you can get fancy and have yarn that comes with many colors in it. You're going to need something to put your sticks together with, so you can use tacky glue, you can use hot glue, you can use glue sticks. You're going to need some paint. Some green paint or brown paint would be good, and a paintbrush. And then if you want, you either can use a marker to draw the eyes, or you can put some Google eyes on. So I'll be back when I get my space all set up, and we're going to make a turtle together. So now I've gathered all the supplies we need to make the turtle. I've got my paint, I've got my paintbrush, I've got my craft sticks, I've got my paper towels in case I get messy, I've got some water to clean my paintbrushes, I've got some different kinds of glue. I've got tacky glue, I've got glue dots to put my sticks together. If you have hot glue, that works really well because it dries fast, but Mom or Dad need to use that. I also have some googly eyes, and I have some yarn. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my sticks together, and you're going to make them cross, and one more, and let's have it just a little bit turned. So it looks like that. Let me get these out of the way so you can see. And when you put them together, this is going to be the turtle's head. That'll be his tail, his legs, his leg, leg, and leg. So I'm going to move it back just a little bit because his tail isn't going to stick out too much. And Since I don't have a hot glue gun here and I don't have time to wait for the tacky glue to dry, I'm going to use a glue dot. So I'm just going to get one of my sticks, put a glue dot on it right in the middle. I don't know if you can see that, like that. And I'm going to do it on another one also. And then I'm going to lay one stick on there. If you pretend that this is 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, I'm going to have this one go just about at 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And then press it down. And then this other one will go at 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock, I think. But it will wind up looking like that. And as I said, the reason I chose to use glue dots is because they're stuck already and I don't have to wait for them to dry. It was nice and safe for me to use. And then I can go ahead and start painting them. Now I decided that I wanted my turtle to be green, so I've got some tropical foliage acrylic paint. I'm almost at the bottom, so I'm hoping I have enough here, but I'm just going to paint the turtle, which is basically painting the sticks. And then you will need to wait for this to dry before we do the rest of it. So let me just paint, get into those crevices. I have some paper towels here in case I make a mess, but I am using a placemat. You can also use newspaper to put down on your surface so that you don't get it ruined. But you just want to be sure that you get primarily the ends, because we're going to be covering up the middle part of this. You can do both sides if you want to. I'm just going to do one. So I'm just going to wait for it to dry, and then I'll come back and we'll continue on with the rest of this craft project. Now that my craft sticks are dry, we can start doing our weaving. When I made my sample that looks like this, I used a yarn that's called variegated yarn, which means it changes color. It's got many, many colors all in one skein or one ball of yarn. And if you have that at home, that's great, because then you can just wind and wind and wind and you don't have to connect other pieces. But I'm assuming most of you won't have variegated yarn at home. So for our sample, now I'm going to use 3 different skeins of yarn, 3 different colors. So I've got a gold, and I've got a moss, and I have a green. And I'm going to start with the gold. And I'm just going to take the end of it and hope that I only have one end. It looks like I've got 2. I think I'll go with the one that's on the outside. So I'm going to take that yarn and I'm going to tie it right around the middle, so right across. Maybe if I turn it over, you can even see it better. Right across 2 of the sticks, or actually all 3 of the sticks. And you're going to want to do it from the front to the back so that your knot is on the back. And I'm leaving a tail of about maybe 5 inches, because eventually I'm going to want to tie my final piece to the starter piece. So this will give me enough to do that with. So tie it in a knot and then tie it in another knot. If you need to, have somebody put their finger down so you can get it nice and tight. But there I have it tied around all 3 of my sticks across the center. Then I'm just going to wrap it around each of these openings about 3 times. So we'll go starting where we had the first one, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then turn it. So I can take it to the next one and go 1, 2, 3, and then turn it one more time. So I can go 1, 2, 3. And that will Just fill in the center part. Remember to keep your tail hanging off the back. And then we can just start doing our regular weaving. If you've ever done a God's eye weaving, that's basically what we're going to be doing here. So you're going to put your yarn over a popsicle stick. So let's see, we'll go over and wrap it around. Better show you this way. We'll go over one stick, around once, and then over the next stick and around it once. Keep turning over the next stick and wrap it around. Over the next stick and wrap it around. Over the next stick and wrap it around. And now I'm right back to where I started. So I'm going to keep going and doing that. So over one stick and wrap it around, then over to the next stick, wrap it around, the next stick, wrap it around, the next stick, and you just keep going around and around and around until you feel like you have enough of that color in one place. And when you do, then you're going to want to add a color. That can be a little tricky, but you're going to cut off about, leaving about 5 inches again. Move that color out of the way. Get your next color and tie it on. And if you want, you can always incorporate that first tail in there to tie them all together. But you want to tie it on close on the back, double knot again. Leave that tail. And then you're going to start your weaving with the next color. So we'll go, I think we're going to be right here. We're going to be over one stick, wrap it around, over the next stick, wrap it around, over the next stick, wrap it around, keep going around just like you had been. Over one stick, wrap it around, over the next stick, wrap it around, and keep going until you've gone around several times with the new color. So I think I'll go around a couple of times with the green yarn. And when you think you've had enough of the next color, I'm not quite there yet. Then you can change to your third color. My goodness, I didn't find the end of this to start off, so maybe I'll just go right back to the gold. That's easier to do. And I'll find where I've finished with the green. Cut some. Tie my gold back on. And then just start over again. Keep your tails out of the way. Go over, wrap it around, over, wrap it around. Just keep going around. And you're just going to keep on going until you get out closer to the end. You see how close I did these? So maybe until you're about an inch from the end. And I won't make you watch me do all of this, so we'll come back in a minute and you can see how it turns out and how to finish it up. Now that I've gone around twice with both colors, I've cut off the end. I'm just going to tie it in the back so that my yarn stays put. And I have all these tails, but I can cut them off later. But just tie it in a knot. First to itself and then to a couple of the other strings, and that'll make it nice and firm so it won't come undone on you. And then you can either weave those tails in from the back or trim them close to the knot. I think I'll trim mine. And what I did with my original one, I actually tied it in a little loop so that I could hang it somewhere. So maybe I'll do that too. Here are a couple long ones. I'll just tie them in a knot together. Do that, and then we'll trim the other ones. Now all that's left is to give him a little bit of personality. You want to add his face. So decide which one looks like it would be its head, and then draw a little smile. And remember, he's going to be looking at you this way, so draw your smile down on the bottom, like that. And then on the two side ones, on each side, you're going to draw some toenails. So the one right next to the face and the one next to that. The back one is the tail, so you don't want any toenails there. And by toenails, I'm just drawing a couple of little black lines. And then he needs his eyes. So I'm going to use some tacky glue and those googly eyes and just put those on. And you just need a little dab of glue. Should have had my bottle upside down so it'd be all ready for me. Cap that up so it doesn't dry out. And put on my googly eyes. I've got a little bit too much glue there, so let me just wipe that off with my fingernail. And there's my turtle with his shell looking very nice. I don't know if Turkey would want to get in it or not, but I think it looks great, and I hope yours does too. So that's our craft project for today to go along with our book about when turtle grew feathers. I hope you enjoyed it and come back another time for another Monday is Funday program.